So it was awesome. Like I felt it. I ran, actually, did not know they were that far, but I ran. And then I remember stopping at some fence that was there, and I was like, I can't breathe. It took forever to get back there.
All right, welcome back to the pod. We've got Jonathan.
Yeah.
Is that you go by Jonathan?
Jonathan, John, either
All right,
or.
and
Yeah.
Marcus
Yep.
Davis.
Yep.
2 season 6
Season
Hunt Warz contestants. You guys did archery mule deer in a state, South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yep.
And I think Britt had this mentioned last time on a pod. You guys won.
We did.
Yes,
You won
we
the
did.
competition that way.
We did.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Okay, and you're both Oklahoma boys.
That is
Oklahoma
correct.
whitetail hunters.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Hunted mule deer prior to this?
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
All right. So how'd you find out about Hunt Warz initially?
Actually, it was just a Facebook ad.
Nice.
Clicked on the ad, went to their YouTube, and I was like, $100, why not, right? So, put in for 2 years, and then my second year I got drawn.
Nice.
So
Were you putting in?
No, I didn't. No, I wasn't. And,
Did you know about it?
I did not.
He wasn't even telling you about it, huh?
He didn't even know about it till I called him. It was like,
Yeah,
Oh, well.
I was in.
I just want to hunt.
Oh, really?
I was in Destin, Florida on vacation with my family, and it was probably 11:30 at night
Yeah.
when he called me, and I saw him calling. I was like, something's wrong, because I know he's in bed way before that, and he was just hollering, like,
Yeah.
pumped up. And
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, what kind of sucks though, I guess, is my other buddy Brendan was supposed to go with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's hear about that.
Oh, yeah, there's some drama there.
Yeah. So Brendan was going to go with me, and one of his guys at work had a 4-wheeler accident, so he had to take over his shifts. And
Oh.
yeah, so
Yeah, but
So
I
you
will
were
say
the second call.
I was, but I will say this: if it
Oh.
was any other spotter, he wouldn't have took that muley. So put that down.
So
It works out how it's
The
supposed to work
accident was
out.
a good thing.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah. Well, I mean, Brendan, he's from New Mexico. He's hunting mule deer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was my pick, right? But when that happened, called my cousin right here,
And I made him wait for a couple days before I said yes, I can go.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah,
Oh
I did.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was a pretty good time.
Just like sweating bullets over there.
Oh, yeah.
Dragon.
Yeah, I'm
This is
like,
my,
hey, it's
this is my
getting down
third
to the
string,
wire,
you know?
He's
Yeah.
like, "Come on, man!
Yeah.
Like, you hear anything?" I was like, "Ah." So it was awesome though.
So what was some of the prep you guys put in before your hunt?
Oh, I started hiking. I threw on a weighted vest and just
Yep.
put in the miles.
Yeah,
I used to shoot competitive, so I was shooting every day anyway.
Yeah.
I would shoot out to 100 yards. I knew that, they had a point deduction system in place, but going into it, we had a plan that we were going to tag out. We didn't care if we won. We didn't care how big it was. We're not going home empty-handed. So
Fair.
I was
Yeah.
shooting out to 100 yards, and I knew I was confident. So whenever we had our interview, that's all I requested was the South Dakota mule deer hunt. They're like, why aren't you picking the elk?
Yeah.
I'm like, because I don't. I mean, yes, I would love to kill an elk, but mule deer sounds a lot funner, to me.
All
So,
right.
I mean,
but we've
So that's
never
what I
done
pushed for.
spot and stock,
never.
Okay.
so that was new. I mean,
Yeah.
in Oklahoma, you're tree stand or blind, and
Yeah.
you don't do spot and stock.
Your previous experience been all whitetail?
All white.
All
Well,
white.
I did go to the Panhandle of Oklahoma, and for 2 years, the first year I had no idea what I was doing. We went antelope hunting,
Okay.
and I didn't know that they could see for miles. I didn't know any of that, right? So the first year was kind of a crapshoot, right? Second year, I went in. We prepped, shooting a lot. That's whenever I first started shooting out to 100, and I shot my first pronghorn at 83, 84 yards.
Oh, nice.
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 Yep. Yep.
But
So-
you guys elk hunted before this?
No.
Because
We've been on a
You
trip,
had been elk
Oh,
hunting,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
but never. Yeah,
Yeah, we took a trip to see our cousins in Oregon, and that was an experience in itself.
Yeah.
We won't talk about your cousins
Yeah.
as we did yesterday.
Yeah. So no, as far as like the interviews and stuff go, it was a pretty cool process.
Yeah.
Just getting to know the guys, Britt is hilarious. You know,
Awesome.
Trent's more of tries to be serious. You know,
Yeah.
he tries to be, but you can kind of see it. You know, and then leading up to camp, just the prep in it. I was shooting more and more every day. I was hiking more and more every day.
And your spotter has to as well. It's not just a shooter. That's one
you're
thing.
totally
You better
right.
keep up.
Yeah,
exactly.
so I was doing exactly the same,
Yeah.
and we were ready.
We
came in
definitely
ready.
I think we put in each day like 10 or 11 miles each day.
And it's
nice.
104 to 106 degree
Yeah.
It's
temps
hot.
in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah. And then once we arrived to camp, we were the first ones there.
Nice.
Yeah.
we
so
actually arrived because we were supposed to show up to camp on Sunday, but we came up Friday.
we came.
We were excited,
Yeah.
and then it would rain so much that we couldn't get into camp until, or maybe we were supposed to get there Saturday,
Yeah, that's what it was.
but we were rained out, so we couldn't do anything. So we hung out in town.
Because I think our season was the first time they were going to allow people to start.
Show up a day early,
Show up a day early, kind of go out and see the land and everything
get a
like
feel
that.
for it.
But it was raining so much that
Couldn't get in.
no, the landowner was like, "Y'all are going to get stuck."
Yeah,
there's no
these roads
chance.
aren't made for this,
Yeah.
and
So
So you guys had they give you guys would have had a full day to like scout, get familiar, really.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
But instead, they did set up this. They went out and put a 3D mule deer out on a hill and or below a hill. Took us up on top of a little hill. It was like, find it. So that was our first time trying to even look for it.
Yeah.
You could kind of see the shine in the antlers, you know.
Yeah.
And we found it, and then they took us to a whole nother place, and was like, "All right, now go find it and
Yeah,
take your
that's-
shot."
Oh, that's cool.
Like a practice.
like a little practice round.
Huh.
And you know, Lane was giving us a lot of tips as take a picture far out, take a
Yep.
picture zoomed in, and we kind of use that to our advantage whenever we done the little spot and stop.
use wind direction.
Yeah, wind
was a huge-
direction. But yeah, I mean that helped us out a bunch. Just learning how to take those pictures. Not just using Onyx, because if you just use Onyx, I mean, you can get pretty close, but whenever you're actually seeing it,
Yeah.
It's totally
it's
different.
totally different.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, that's so that they had you guys take the pictures.
Yeah.
Close in, far out. Did you guys find when you did your first stalk, even though it was a 3D deer, was it harder than you thought it was going to be?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because whenever we were coming up to it, I was looking at my phone and I was like, he's got to be over this hill. And as I got closer and closer, and I looked up and looked at my picture, I was like, all right, here's the tree. He's got to be further over. So we're about, I don't know, 30 yards off, but it was still, you know, pretty
Yeah.
hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. I mean,
And so using the wind.
Yeah.
How's the wind in this area? Like
Oh,
blowing
it's
all different
open
directions.
dude,
plains.
it
open,
both
so
points. It
it's
was blowing
windy.
20, 30, 40 mile an hour. What's crazy is whenever I did get my mule deer, it was kind of 5-10 miles an hour. But as soon as I got my shot off and we seen him fall over, it picked up like that.
Yes.
I lost my gators in the wind. They blew off. So
Jeez.
It was
yeah.
wild.
Yeah. So
Was the
Yeah.
wind switching a lot in that country?
Yeah, so
or
that-
was it consistent in the one direction?
well,
lot of the
I
time.
mean, if you looked on your phone, look at the weather, it would say, you know, northwest or southeast. But as you got into those valleys, I mean, you could
You're
feel
in
it
a
just
pocket.
yeah,
at
it
that
was
point.
all different directions.
Yeah, those cool little clears and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
That was something that we ran into in Oregon.
Yeah.
The wind absolutely screwed me over and him over multiple
It
times.
was it was so weird compared to what we're used to hunting Utah, where it's like, all right, wait till 10. Now the wind's blowing uphill and it might swirl, but pretty consistent. You can count on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cools down, goes downhill. Like it's pretty set.
Yeah.
Then Oregon, we're like, all right, well, now we're on top of this big old flat, and it's like east, southeast, north. We're like, how do we plan for this?
It's so hard to plan, dude.
It is.
You guys probably, hunting Oklahoma whitetails, you guys are probably pretty used to paying real close attention to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, you got
Yeah,
to.
you have to.
Setting up your
Yeah.
stands and your blinds for that.
You have multiple stands,
Multiple
blinds set
stands,
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you'll only hunt one depending on the wind, right? That
Correct,
kind of
correct.
determines
Yeah.
where you're going
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
That's something that we've never tried. Like that blows
Yeah,
my
we
mind.
haven't- we haven't done
It's like,
whitetail.
oh, blowing
Yeah,
up, I'll circle around. You know what I mean?
Y'all not use thermals and stuff like that to your advantage?
Well, we do, but it's more of like even depending on where they're at, we can always get the wind right.
Yeah.
But for me, like, depending on where I'm gonna choose my stand is just,
It's all spot and stock because we're not putting stands out.
I mean, you gotta use thermals, but it's just like a whole other ball game doing stands, something we're not used to.
Whenever we got into camp, I don't know if you guys, did they say, let me see you shoot, how far out you can shoot, etc. That was pretty cool. Whenever they were asking how far do you want to shoot, I was like 100 yards. They looked at me like, are you serious? Yeah, I've been shooting at 100 yards. If a monster buck is out there, I'm taking the shot.
Yeah.
So we went and practiced, and Lane was like, oh yeah, you're good. You're good to take a 100-yard shot. So,
nice. And Lane's a landowner where they got the tags from, the outfitter.
Yep, the outfitter.
Was he the one that was kind of watching you guys practice and determining, hey, you shouldn't be shooting past 80?
Yes.
Yeah, he was. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we've covered this on previous podcasts, but just for listeners' benefit, Lane, the landowner, outfitter, whatever hunt you end up going on, he kind of like gives you some tips and like obviously helps you kind of get the lay of the land, but then you are on your own.
Yeah.
He's not going to say, hey,
cannot help you.
There's deer over here, or I've seen the big one over here for 3 days.
Yeah.
What's good though is if you do get that information, he has to tell it to the other teams.
100%.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it could be an advantage, but it also can be a disadvantage because now you got all 3 teams
going after
looking at that one area.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, and to your point, some teams may not take that information they give you and make it like priority or take it as like viable. The only reason why is I know the team on our season, like we learned a few things from our guide, and I feel like they just kind of threw it out the window.
Yeah.
And it was, well, maybe not out the window, but like it took them a long time to be like, oh yeah, Zach said this, Zach said that. Maybe we should have done that. Whereas like the other 2 teams, us and the others, like we took that and we were in elk every day.
Yeah.
So that's and that he does all that pre-hunt. Like you guys don't even go out for the first time until you have that discussion with him, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then day 1 of our hunt,
it was a good day.
It was a good day. We done a lot of e-scouting before we went.
Yeah.
And we honed in on this one area. And so day 1 we got out there before daybreak, setting up and everything.
It was foggy.
Yeah, it was very, very foggy.
What
about 9 o'clock?
It started to finally lift, but the fog killed us big time in the morning.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then we actually spotted the buck that I took on day 1. He was about 1,000 yards out with the same smaller buck that he was with on day 4. I decided to put a stock on him. Will and I took off just running through this ravine down there and got behind, what was that? I think they were the termite mounds. I think that's what they were.
Oh,
they were massive termite mounds. I mean,
crazy,
huge termite mounds.
That's interesting.
So once we got there, he was actually still at the spotting area. But I couldn't tell through my binoculars if he was telling me if he was up or down, if he's still bedded. So once I got to where I knew I could see him, he was already standing up. So we had to back down, go back around to the left of it. Well, then they spotted us. So Will and I was like, let's just give him a little bit, we'll figure something out. So we went right back around. About 10 minutes later, they finally bedded right back down. It's like they didn't care we were there.
Yeah.
So I got up on this hill. He was exactly 100 yards. I drew back on him, and I did not know that there was 3 or 4 doe right below me.
Yeah.
This whole time they didn't see him, didn't hear him. But as soon as I drew back, I don't know if they heard me or what, but they jumped up, took off running. Those bucks were out of there. So
it's full draw.
Full draw, ready to send it, and they took
day
off.
1.
Day 1.
Day 1.
Yeah, I'll say day 1. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we had a plan. We're slinging arrows, right?
Yeah.
So
that was.
And what's funny is whenever I ranged him, and I told Will, I was like, he's at 100. He said, "Are you confident with that shot?" Absolutely. He's like, "Take it then."
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, but we only done 2 stocks the whole time we were there.
On the same deer, too.
Same deer.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was a blessing.
Because the other 2 teams were putting in multiple stocks, and we didn't have to. We just day 2 came around. We went to a different area. We've seen quite a few bucks, but they were on private land. You know, they never got in anywhere close. And then day 3 with Britt, we didn't see a single thing.
That's Brit.
Typical.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
Brit's curse.
Yeah. We didn't see a single thing. And then day 4, I told John, I was like, hey man, you pick where we're going to go. I've been hitting these little dots on Onyx. He's like, let's go back to where we seen them on day 1.
Played Twilight.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were out there at pitch dark.
Pitch dark,
set up. Sun hit everything, and it's crazy. Mule deer is very hard to spot.
Very.
I was gonna ask, how did you guys feel?
Very hard, because you'll be just glassing for hours, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Holy crap! There's one right there." He just pops up. You know, like
Or you'll see an ear twitch.
that's
What is that? You know, and you finally look at it and you're like, oh, that's a deer.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we've never seen land like that. How they get into those mesquite bushes. I don't even know if they're mesquite, but they get in those bushes and they just blend in.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, they disappear.
they do.
in
They
the
do.
sage.
They do. They had the sage. That's
Yeah.
what they did. Sage. Yeah. So, and then on day 4, it was getting pretty close to the end of the hunt, and we had a bunch of small bucks coming in, and 2 little forkhorns were a little too close. And I told John, I was like, you want to just tag out?
send it.
They're in trouble.
They weren't safe, huh?
Yeah. And Will's trying to,
Nice.
yeah. Let's not do this. I'm like, Will, we
They
gotta
were-
tag out, man.
They were in motion. He was taking his gear off.
Yeah.
We're setting up. I decided it's easier for a spotter to stay back.
Yeah.
You know, less noise if you can keep eyes on them.
Yeah,
And then
100%.
got him in. But yeah, they were y'all were getting everything off and getting ready to go. And then Will
looked up. He's like, don't move. There's 2 bucks coming over the ridge. And we kind of just hunkered back down. And then we look over to our right. Another team has spotted the same 2 bucks.
Ah.
And little did we know, the day before, the same team was actually 40 yards from the buck that I shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So they already knew where he was. So they went back to the same spot. And they actually, I think, looking back at it now, knowing that they seen him and was on him, I think they pushed him closer to us.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they got in there probably about, I don't know, an hour and a half after we already set up.
Okay.
And they were already coming to us. So they just pushed him
They
closer
bumped
to
him.
us.
Yeah.
Which on the show is totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yes,
not their deer.
That's
It's
hunting
coming
us.
towards you.
Yeah.
And public land hunting.
Yeah.
It's-
Exactly.
Yeah, it's for anything.
So we spotted those deer and we waited, I don't know, seen them moseying around for 20 minutes, and they finally bedded down, and Will said, let's go. So
Yeah.
we took off hauling that way. We went up one side of the ridge, and honestly, I don't know why we did that, because the wind would have blew our scent right into their face to begin with.
Well, it looked different too.
It did look
from
different.
like
Yeah,
glass area. It
from
looks like,
glass.
oh, we can enter here
Yeah.
and then it'll be a perfect shot. But that doesn't mean when you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were looking,
at
what, 1,000 yards out,
Yeah.
So we went up to the right side of it, and then the wind started hitting our face, and we lost track of the big one. He was deep into the ravine, bedded down, and we saw the smaller buck. So we backed out, went back to the left side, and I don't know, we low crawled forever, it felt like, through cactus, mud, rocks. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It actually, after we got up there, we lost him. We could not find him, and we were actually headed back towards him because we were thinking, okay, maybe he's a little further up. And Will happened to turn around, and he was like, I think I see antler tits. And sure enough, that's where they were. We huddled back down and low crawled back over there. And I was on my knees low crawling. I don't know, felt like forever, but looking back at it, this is what's crazy. The other team was actually videoing us too through their spotting
jeez.
scope.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that,
Yeah.
And looking at their video, it was about 5 minutes long, but it felt like forever.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah. Felt like forever. And I finally told Will, I was like, hey, I was hand signaling him, hey, I see the 3x4. And I said, I'm going to stand up and draw back. And as I was getting up, I was ranging as I was standing up. And I knew that the smaller buck was 32 yards, and I still couldn't see the bigger buck. But as I fully stood up, I seen exactly where he was, so I went ahead and drew back. And as soon as I drew back, the smaller buck jumped pretty much on top of the bigger buck and made him stand up. So I just let it go, man. Let it go.
Nice.
Perfect heart shot. I mean, he ran 20 yards and fell over.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that the mountains or hills or whatever you
Yeah.
call it in South Dakota, they echoed.
Big time.
You could hear everybody was screaming.
Yeah.
I knew it happened.
So the other team were just watching you
They
shoot
watched
their
the
target
whole
buck.
thing.
They were
Yeah,
really
that's kinda cool.
they were really supportive. It was awesome.
Yeah, they tried to come down and congratulate us, but they wouldn't allow it. You know?
Yeah,
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 like
because you're not
size, yeah.
supposed to see
Yeah.
the exact size because it's
Yeah.
a competition at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
they knew though.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah,
knew roughly how big he was.
And they chased him, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, and Nick actually sent me pictures of his stock, and I'm like, why didn't you shoot him?
Yeah.
He's
Like close.
oh yeah. I mean, he was. I'll show you. Like I'm telling you, dude, you could have spit him.
is there a reason why he didn't shoot, or like what was this?
I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah, sure.
probably
Yeah.
just second guess, like, can I
Yeah.
make this shot? You
Yeah,
know?
I've
that's
been
true.
there.
If you're
Been
not
there.
shooting a lot,
Yeah.
um,
So there you go.
oh yeah, he is close. So
yeah.
for the listeners,
looks pretty
he's
close.
close. He looks
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah, he's 30 yards.
30 yards, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
That's tough, man.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I mean, that's cool that he has that though. For like that they watch, like it's cool you had an audience.
yeah.
When you guys, when you were spotting though, Jonathan, I don't know the rules in South Dakota. Is it hand signal only, or could you have had radios, or do they not allow that?
You cannot use radios
In
to
South
talk or
Dakota.
anything like that. Look, I know you, as long as you're not inside a moving vehicle, you can text or whatever, but hand signals was the biggest thing for
you.
that. And as you are a shooter, you're relying on your spotter a lot, looking back,
Yeah.
with binoculars, and then he's trying to guide you,
Yeah.
trying the best he can. Because on day one, it looked like from where you went up on that mound to where that buck was maybe 40 yards.
And it was
By the time he
100.
got up there, it just changes
was-
so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, since this was our first spotting stock, get good glass. I mean,
Yes,
I
yeah.
I had Vortex 10x42s. They were cheap, I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yep.
But from now on,
Spend the money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll definitely buy better gear.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Optical clarity in those kind of situations is king.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
because that's all you're doing is spending time behind glass. It's not
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
unless you're patterning deer and looking at pinch points stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
yeah, and I use back home trail cameras for that. So
yeah,
And that was another thing with the mule deer
fair.
hunt, is that we would stay up late and go over our plan every night. And then it was kind of like whitetail hunting. You figure out their routine
Yeah.
of when they're going to be coming through. And we kind of knew, okay, we haven't seen him in 3 days.
let's
Like,
go
we-
back.
he's
So
gotta
he's
go
due
back.
through.
Yeah.
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 So we went back to the basics.
And obviously that's a total guess.
yeah,
Because
it was a guess.
I mean, we were hunting 30,000 acres, which I don't know what y'all were hunting, but to me, that's a lot.
That is
You
a
know,
lot.
that is a lot. Yeah.
So he could have been in anywhere, but
Yeah.
we were taking a guess. Let's go back where we seen him,
Yeah.
and it paid off.
Yeah.
So
For you as a spotter, Jonathan, was it exciting to watch that, or do you wish you
Oh,
would have been
yeah.
up there when he shot? Like, because it's
I know from a spotter's standpoint, you still feel the excitement
Oh,
yeah.
looking through the glass. Like, because I mean, it's a team effort deal.
100%. Yeah.
So it was awesome. Like
Yeah,
I felt it. I ran, actually did not know they were that far, but I ran, and then I remember stopping at some fence that was there, and I was like, I can't breathe. It took forever to get back there, but
and Will, after he went down, Will was like, "Hey, we got to get hands on him." I'm like, "Nope, we're not going until Jonathan gets up here."
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
I was looking at him from afar, just like, "Come on, Jonathan, hurry up,
yeah.
get here,
Run faster.
yeah.
Jump
Run
the
faster.
faster.
Got the water.
Yeah,
And so when I got up there, I can't breathe. I'm not. He's like, drink water, and I was like,
yeah.
it's all back there.
Yeah.
That's
So-
it was a good time.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
is, it's the whole experience is just exciting no matter what role you play.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And it's-
yeah.
And the nice part about spot stock mule deer is you could watch it. Right. When we were on our elk hunt, I'm the caller. So I step back 40, 50 yards out of sight. I'm just doing my best to sound like there's a party going on down here. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on over there, but I hope this is working.
The amount of stuff that Tyler missed, like I felt bad because I wanted him to see it.
Yeah.
Because he called a bull in at 20 yards that I passed on, and we slow played him, and I was like, yeah, it's hard, dude, nothing came in. Then we got back to the truck, and I was like, that's a lie. Then we started the video, and he was like, you didn't shoot it? Like, it's kind of small.
So how does that work? So obviously we've never been elk hunting like that. So as the caller, you go further behind it, your hunter?
Yeah, because that elk's going to come in to the call, right? So you don't want to be standing because they're going to come in, they're going to be looking for the call and trying to figure out they want to see what's making the noise. So if you go back 30, 40 yards, they're going to walk ideally right past the shooter thinking, what I'm looking for is a little further.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and then that setup process too is like if your caller is behind you, if that they need to suck that elk in just a little bit further, they can start walking a little further away. Yeah. And they think that, oh, that elk's taking his cows or whatever, and they suck them right in. But
I think when I called that bull in, I started at like 30, 40, and I ended up 80 yards away from you guys just trying to draw.
Yeah.
And he did pass on it. It was a smaller raghorn, but
we'll show you the video.
We knew there was a big bull at the top of that hill.
Yeah. So it's a lot more work than regular, like mule deer, white-tailed deer.
It can be. There was a couple of times too, like the other thing I felt bad for is because Tyler was calling, and there was a point where I had to haul ass to get around to cut some elk off.
Yeah.
And luckily we had the backhoe bikes with us. Britt and I, the camera guy, I ditched him. I left him, and we got down. I got my truck, went all the way around, got these elk, and I was on them. Same thing goes. I felt bad because like, I didn't have him to watch, which I wanted Tyler to be a part of that, but it's hard because as a caller, you have to step back, or else the elk will pick you right off if you're right with your shooter.
Yeah, and that's why I told Will, hey, we're not putting hands on him until John thinks it's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, he put in just as much work as I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And y'all seen the belt buckle I got him.
Yeah, it's a sweet belt buckle.
That's a sweet belt buckle.
That was awesome.
I told him, hey man, I got the mount, but I want you to have this.
Yeah,
that's cool
as an appreciation.
Cool. Yep.
So, yeah, and what's crazy is all the rules that kind of after you get one down, Will's like, okay, hold on, I got to go back to the video. I gotta range where he was, and I tried to tell him, hey man, he was 34 yards. He's like, I understand, but I gotta range it.
Yeah.
I gotta take.
He has to verify
all that.
Because for those listening too, there's point deductions if you shoot past 40 yards.
40 yards.
There's like a 10 point from 40 to 50, and so on and so forth, right?
So you were ready to take a 100-yard shot, but you ended up at 34.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, 100 yards. I mean, I did not care.
Yeah.
I did not. We had a plan of tagging out, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were actually practicing hand signals so we would not mess up.
Yeah.
Like,
That's nice.
we were constantly practicing just so we knew 100%.
In which better glass, I would have seen the hand signals a lot better too.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Was there any point in time, Jonathan, where you were like screaming to yourself, like, pick your head up?
Turn the other way. You're going the wrong way.
Yeah. I think because whenever you're looking that far away and he's doing this or you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
So
yes. And another thing is too, is if you're looking back, give your spotter or vice versa the time to see you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, they turn around and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So y'all didn't tag out, right?
We did not.
We did not. We got really, really close. He called that bull into 20, and I passed, which I'm still.
It's all right.
It's fine. Like I'm happy to pass.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think we got a little hungry after we saw on day 2 or 3. We saw like a bull that was probably pushing 360, 370.
Yeah. If you had seen the bull that we thought was above the hill when that little one came in, you'd have passed too.
Yeah. And he was up there because he was St. Bugle the day before. But and then we got dang close. One time we had a bull it was too thick for me to see him. But it was middle of the day. They had bedded down with his cows, and we got right up in his grill, and we're cow calling, and he just lit off. And he was probably 10, 15 yards away from me. And Tyler was behind me calling, and I felt the wind on my neck. And Tyler, and he whirled, and we never got him. And then
crash.
We had another bull. He was a 7x7, 7x6 on like one of the last days, and he was 118 yards. Tyler steps back to call, and Tyler's just raking and ripping trees and bugling, and he literally just kind of like looked back, whatever, turned around and bedded down. And we were like,
Yeah.
you
Could not care less about
piece
us.
of crap.
Really?
Yeah, he just could not care. And we tried. We bumped it. We got closer and closer, and finally we bumped him pretty good. But I mean, we got close a couple of times, but there were some big bulls in there. There's a lot of elk.
And that bull that bedded down just pissed you off because he bumped, and then they ran. We chased him until last light, and then we walked out in the dark for 30 minutes, still bugling back and forth with him.
Yeah, I got mad, and I was like, "Give me your bugle too," because he was bugling at us, so he'd bugle, and I ripped one back. I was so mad because I was like, "You sucker!"
Yeah, yeah.
So I was bugling, but no, we did. Did anybody else on your hunt tag? Did anybody else tag out? Or you
No,
and team?
but they
They were
both
all full
teams-
draw
Yeah, they
at one point.
both
Really?
teams were able to at least get full draw.
That's cool, at least.
Looking at some of the videos, I don't want to give too much, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, there was some nice.
There was opportunity on
Yeah,
some nice deer. That's
100%
cool. Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah. But what else is cool is whenever you tag out on day 4 and there's 4 more days of hunting, you're chilling in camp.
Yeah.
You know, we went to town, grabbed a burger.
Yeah.
You know, we had a blast. I mean, we were shooting. What were they?
22s, prairie dogs.
Prairie
Oh,
dogs.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Rare
Prairie dogs are
bird.
fun
That'd
to
be a
shoot,
ton of
yeah.
fun.
We
Yeah.
even got so bored that, everybody, some of the other hunters came in, they all brought trailers and they were muddy bad. We went out, cleaned it for them.
You guys did? Wow.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
stand-up guys.
Yeah, cleaned up their trailers. Nick, team Dead Draw, they actually got stuck on day 1 because it was so muddy.
Oh, geez.
So once they finally got into camp, I mean, it was still
It was
muddy,
bad.
very, very bad. So after we tagged out, we took some hammers and screwdrivers and finally got all the mud off, and then took it over to the wash bay that the landowner
Wow,
had.
you guys
Clean
are
that
nice.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
We learned a lot, mule
did.
deer. And I know this helped me a lot, is that I knew nothing about mule deer. So I would listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Or people talking about this,
Yeah.
done it, and just kind of be like, okay, so look for this, that.
Yeah.
One thing that was different is they always say, like, on mule deer, wait for their second bedding.
Yep.
And that's when we made the move on the first bedding.
we did.
And that was day 1.
That was day
Or day
2.
2.
Or sorry, on
Day
day
four.
4.
Day 4.
When we took him.
Oh,
we made
it
it on
was
the
the first bed.
bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
First
usually
bed.
they'll bump on the second bed,
Well,
and that's
yeah.
how you go for them.
The reason why we did it though is because we seen that other team.
The other team
Yeah,
coming.
that's true.
Yeah.
You got to get
Yeah.
in position.
You got-
yeah, so we
Yeah,
took it.
You
can't win.
had to, you have to capitalize on the opportunity.
Hey, it paid off. Who cares?
Yeah,
that's right, yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
What else stands out as something different when you were learning how to mule deer hunt versus what you used to with
That-
whitetail?
It seemed like, and I don't know if it's like this for all mule deer, but that big one that was walking always had that smaller buck with him. So when he would bed down, that smaller buck would almost be like opposite position,
Yeah.
but would be looking around,
Yep.
listening constantly while he was bedded.
Yeah, it's kind of like satellite bull, I guess.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, they're always.
Yeah.
When
It's like,
when their
hey,
bachelor herded up, because you guys went August
August
early
31st.
September?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Hunt started September 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still
They
pretty
are
early.
they're
Yeah.
still best friends.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They got, and only 2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Utah, you see like 6 of them together, and you're like, it's 12 eyes you're
Yeah.
trying
Yeah,
to fight.
yeah.
exactly.
fighting, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't realize that they did that as either. I knew that elk did that. They had the satellite bulls.
Yeah.
But I didn't know mule deer did that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're best friends until November rolls around here in
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say if you guys ever get another chance to hunt mule deer, do it in a rut
Okay.
Oh,
in
yeah.
November. So you can do it here in Utah with a bow. It
Come on
is
out.
Wild.
Really?
No,
Let us
it's
know.
so
We're there.
much fun.
You got a brand new bow that needs to be broken in.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rut here is absolutely insane.
There's a lot of
Chasing
people, but
bow.
it is a lot. It's a fun hunt.
That'd be
And
great.
is there a lot of public?
Yes.
There's a ton of public out here, yeah, that you
Yep.
can hunt. Yeah.
So can you,
Is it over the counter?
over the
Almost.
counter?
Almost,
It's
yeah.
an easy draw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys can get it. But any other plans to go back to South Dakota or any like that in this coming year?
Or just, are you hooked on mule deer? Are you
Yeah.
trying to find somewhere to go?
Well,
Or is it still whitetail?
I mean, you cannot beat whitetail. I'll say that. But looking for something new,
Yeah.
like, I mean, now I want to go for an elk. Now that
Yeah.
I've done mule deer, I want to do an elk. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And obviously, we're putting back in with Hunt Warz, so hopefully we get
Yeah.
another-
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, you got to be putting in now.
Oh yeah, like crazy. I've done
Yeah.
twice so far. Yeah, for
So,
sure. And one thing that we learned too is that you have to work for it when you're out hunting.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to glass it. You got to spend the time. You got to do whatever. It's what you make it, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, we did hear that like some past seasons, they would go in, 10:30, 11 o'clock, take a nap, go back out 2 or
Yeah.
3.
we heard that.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, whitetail hunting, you can do that for sure because you got
Easy.
stands, you got food plots, you got,
You got a camera that tells you he's there.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly. You do.
But for me, if I'm going to take a nap, I'm going to be in the field and just
Yeah.
crash out for a couple minutes. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not coming back into camp. So I don't know if any of our guys did that. I can't remember. I know we didn't. So no, we stayed out in the field the whole time.
Which, honestly, even elk hunting, you can get into elk like we did in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You can get it. Deer, you can spot all day in beds. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
you just only hurting yourself if you go back to camp.
Right,
In my
yeah.
opinion.
100%.
Some of the best elk opportunities I had wasn't able to capitalize, but we found a decent looking wallow at 1 p.m. Took a half-hour nap and woke up to a bunch of cows coming in and a bugle behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we hadn't been there, it didn't pay off, but still, at least
Yeah.
there was
elk there.
we had an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, at the end of the show, how they, they take the measurements of your buck and everything. Whenever they scored my buck, Lane told me, he's like, I don't think this is right, but I'm scoring him at like 142 and something. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way that he's 142. I had him rescored back at home, 172 and 3/8. So
Nice.
he
Well,
can't figure
who the
out
crap scored him at 142?
Lane,
Lane?
The
the
landowner.
landowner.
All right.
And he told me straight up, he's like, I don't know if I did this right. I mean, he was honest.
Yeah.
He's like, but this is what I came up with. Now, my deer is missing brow tines, which there's a couple inches you can gain from there.
Yeah, that's a
It's
mule deer,
3,
though.
yeah, and it's a 4x3, so I'm losing a little bit. But I mean, he had I think it was like right at 30.5-inch spread. So
Wow.
I mean,
White deer, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. But I had him rescored. Lane asked me to have him rescored, and he was 172 and 3/8. So
172 and 3/8.
That's a nice
on a
mule deer.
3x4.
Yep.
That's a
and
solid buck.
my first mule deer.
Yeah.
So
Well,
So now moving forward, just want you to know, you cannot
Nothing
shoot anything
smaller.
smaller than that.
no,
Yeah.
not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So,
You know
yeah.
what I
So
mean?
those Forkies are now gone. Don't even think of that.
They're safe with you.
Forkies.
I'll
They're
take
in
it.
danger.
Yeah, you're starting ground zero, Jonathan. You're good.
So
Oh.
no, I think anybody and everybody should sign up for Hunt Warz. It's
Yeah.
a great time. Just meeting you guys, past
Yeah.
season hunters, the Britt and Trent and Will. I mean, even Big Dan, who I don't know who you guys is
is he your
Chef.
chef? Yeah.
Yeah. He was awesome. He was actually mad that I killed my deer while he was leaving. He had to go cook at a wedding.
Oh, yeah.
So
So
10
he
minutes
just
after he left, I killed him.
You can't. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No, he was about ready to cook up some backstrap.
He kinda-
yeah.
So no, it's just a good time.
It
It's a good
is.
time.
It is.
And it's opportunity that you probably would never get otherwise.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Maybe.
and
you
now
know,
you're
some people-
and now you're here at the Western Hunt Expo,
Yep.
Yeah.
helping the booth, walking around. This is a great environment to be
Great
in.
environment.
Yeah. It's the best.
Meeting new people.
Yeah.
Actually getting to see, camos and other companies that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And making him spend his money on a new bow.
Yeah.
It happens. I have no control. I will say that.
If you have no control, let's go walk around.
Well, now we need a
Nah,
site.
I can get that wallet out for more
Yeah,
time.
So, but no, we're hoping we get drawn again. Hopefully they do a winter season. We can be on it.
Yeah.
together. So
That'd be awesome.
We'd
That
love
would
that.
be.
Yeah.
That would
that
be
would
sweet.
be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Winter season in Alaska is what I'm pushing for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like the
Alaska.
cold, boys. Listen,
Well-
listen, I don't like the cold. Okay, but I'll do it. I'll do it.
We'll bring
I'll-
a buddy heater for you.
Hey, there you go. There you go. I actually have one in my blind. So
Yeah, see, you're
Same.
good. You're good.
yeah.
Same.
So
So out in Oklahoma, you guys, something that we learned is you guys don't have units too. Because
No.
coming back to your roots, was it different coming from somewhere where you can just hunt across the state with your tags? Is that correct?
well, you have to. It's public land, right?
Right,
So,
anywhere
you,
public.
anywhere public you can hunt, right?
Yep.
Yeah. As far as whenever we went to Oregon for our elk hunt with our cousin, that's whenever I first learned about units.
Yeah. Same.
He's like, hey, these are the only units you can hunt. I'm talking, and I'm like, it's public land.
Yeah.
Like, why? He's like, well, this is just what your tag is for.
Yeah.
So that is different. And then going out to South Dakota, there's actually lines of tribal land. You
Oh, yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
cross and hunt into
Yeah.
that tribal land. I mean, you can cross it, but you have to be.
You can't stop. You
you
can't
cannot
have a knock.
stop.
It can't
Yeah.
be knocked. It can't be. You
You're-
got to be moving. You
You got to
can't.
be moving.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So on foot you could cross it, but you no stopping.
No
No
stop.
stopping.
Don't take a leak. Don't do nothing. Get out of
going.
Yeah.
Just pee
All
your
right.
pants if you
Yeah,
have to.
exactly. Yeah. So that was something new that I learned.
Huh.
Yeah,
that
in
was
Oklahoma,
huge
like I
one.
said, I mean, public land, you can go wherever you want.
You just look at property lines on Onyx. You show, all right, this is my area.
Yeah.
I know units.
And you'll have, I don't know how it is here, but you'll have people show up a couple days before, start camping out.
Yep.
And some of the spots, you only have 300 acres to hunt, but you'll have 15, 20 hunters in that 300
That's,
acres.
yeah.
So yeah, it's
Just look
hard
at it.
hunting. It's hard hunting. So,
Yeah.
but I'm thankful that I wouldn't say just bought, but in 2020 during COVID, I bought 40 acres of my own, and
Nice.
I don't have to lease land anymore. So it's a privilege to have that. You know what I mean? It's
for sure.
it's awesome.
It is.
So you'll be filming over to hunt his property around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we actually we did.
And not as a spotter, as a snare.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually when was that? In November that you came and hunted?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
November,
I-
December.
Yeah, I came
We
over.
actually got together and went to one of his shooting towers.
Yeah.
We didn't see nothing. But we talked the whole time. It's just good to get out
Yeah,
it
and,
is fun.
and
Yeah,
hunt.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys got any fun hunts planned for this year then, outside of Oklahoma?
hopefully Hunt Warz
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
put in. If not, we might go to Pronghorn.
That's in Oklahoma, but I
Yeah.
did put in for all the hunts here.
Okay. The Expo
so-
tags.
The
Yeah.
Expo tag.
If you're drawing an Expo tag,
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if we'll talk again. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be awesome if you do one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I put in for that.
Back out west.
And then I put in every year. It's an Oklahoma hunt, but
Yeah,
it's
same.
recurve only. It's at the McAllister Army Ammunition Plant. Non-residents can put in for it too. It's recurve only. They have massive whitetails.
Yeah.
Massive whitetails.
Huge.
Damn, have either one of you ever drawn that before?
Yeah.
You have, haven't you?
Yeah, I actually shot a kind of sucks to say, but I did not find him. Yeah, he was a nice 8-point. He was about 140-ish.
Okay.
And I shot him, but how he came in 10 yards, I actually snort wheezed him in.
Oh wow.
And yeah, he was
Okay.
pretty far out there. I snort wheezed him in. He was all puffed up. He came in 10 yards, and I just shot high because he ducked. He was right underneath me. Arrow went completely through. I did have lung blood, but I think I only got one lung.
Yeah. Ah, man, that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah,
Man,
That's
So-
tough. Archery's tough.
it is.
It's just
And
tough,
then you add
dude.
in just no sights, no,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just
that's
stick
true.
and
Oh,
string, baby. So
It's different.
Cool.
Right on.
Cool.
Well, thank
well,
you guys for
yeah.
coming on.
Find your way
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
west.
yeah,
appreciate
for your listeners, follow us on
Oh, yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's get this.
Okie Operators. So
Yeah, that was your team name for Hunt
team,
Warz, right?
team name for Hunt
The
Warz, yeah.
operators.
They operated because they were successful.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's
I
right.
think we even screamed it into the
I did.
camera.
Did
I
you
did.
really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So when the footage comes out, be looking for that
Yeah,
because
because he screamed
everybody's talking about how good my footage is and not the deer. So
That's funny.
yeah.
So season 6, watch for them. Okie Operators. It's gonna be sweet episodes.
Yeah.
it. It will.
Appreciate you guys having
Thanks,
us.
guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.